Hey, this is Tom Jacobs from tdjacobs.com. And as I record this, the sun is in Cancer. And this morning, about 4 a.m., 4:01 a.m. Pacific time here in the US, we had a Cancer new moon. And I've been meaning to, for a few days, put up a video about pink opal. Pink opal is the featured crystal for the month of Cancer. In May and June, I did it by month with labradorite and then auralite 23. But I'm shifting to do it to line up with the solar month. Sign of Cancer is about feeling. It's about home. It's about mom, apple pie, baseball, whatever. It's also July 4th here. It's July 4th here in the U.S. It's July 4th, and here in the U.S., of course, that is Independence Day. That is the big deal holiday when everybody eats hot dogs and all the yahoos explode fireworks outside your house. You're free. So anyway, but with pink opal so integral to opening the heart, I wanted to do a little video. And before this video, I actually sat here and intentionally opened my heart so that I could have some of that heart open energy conveyed or captured on the video. You can even compare this to other videos from me, and it may be a little different because in other videos lately I've been holding Larimar and auralite 23 and sea jasper, and so that really puts the emphasis in chakras 5, 6, and 7, and that helps me be clear. So I'm grounded in the lower 3 chakras. I'm heart open, but then the emphasis is in the upper 3 chakras, and that's kind of how I do a lot of my teaching these days. But I didn't pick up any of those before this. I picked up this rather interesting brecciated pink opal piece that's been on my desk for a while that I've been energetically charging and then sitting and receiving the charge, receiving the energetic programming back. It's I'll show you there's examples of pink opal. Not all of it's brecciated. Brecciated means it's been broken, it's been fragmented, and then water creeped in and filled in with other materials. And then it was hardened again. So you can see not only the dark, but you can often see the kind of like butterscotch yellowish mustard color. And what the symbolism of a brecciated pink opal piece is that the same as the symbolism with brecciated red jasper, which is the red jasper I use for second chakra healing and activation and clearing. You can't ever really be broken. If you decide you're stronger than pain and fear, you're stronger than sadness and sorrow and grief and anger, that you're stronger than that because you can generate love, then you can't be broken. So there's a healing thing with the brecciated stuff, but even with other pink opal, you can see there is also some color variation, which kind of echoes that. Anyway, you can't ever really be broken. Love is the healing balm to heal all wounds. This is true, but most of us engage in the 4th chakra before we get grounded. Being grounded means really focusing on being in the body, connecting to the earth, getting out of the brain. Sending cords into the earth is how I do it a lot of the time because I live in the desert and it's hard for me to feel connected to the earth in the place where I live, which is probably a great reason why I live here. To force me not to externalize, oh yeah, I can go out and hike in the woods, but like, look, it's a barren wasteland. Full of lizards and anyway, being in the body, being in the lower 3 chakras is absolutely key. So if you're really interested in a programmed pink opal piece from me, I'll recommend that you get a tiger iron additionally, or get the tiger iron first, work on it with a few months, work with it for a few months, and then get a pink opal. Because what the pink opal will do is open your heart, which sounds great, right? I'm on a spiritual path. I want to be a kind person. I want to be generous and compassionate. When the heart opens, several things happen. One is you become much more vulnerable and sensitive to the energies around you. You might feel laid bare. You might feel exposed, which is what vulnerability is about. Another thing that will happen is stuff that you have kept in because you don't want others to see it, or you don't know if you can survive feeling it, or you think you just can't handle experiencing it, Or every time you think of that thing or let it come to the surface, part of you cracks and the tears come and you don't know if they'll ever stop. You don't know if you'll be swept away or taken over by that old pain or that regret or that feeling. Sorrow, depressiveness, frustration, self-recrimination, whatever it is. It will come up. So a lot of my work is in emotional healing, emotional counseling, helping people learn not just to deal with their emotions, but to deal with the old emotions that are stored and to learn how to process them and move through them to be more free. So the pink opal will open your heart and you will feel things more and you will feel old things more. So when I spend a lot of time, here's another example of the pink opal piece. When I spend a lot of time with these, I actually get upset. I become frustrated. But behind that frustration is something that needs to be moved out, cried out often. But the frustration sometimes brings me to anger. And then I realize that anger is because I feel powerless. And then I let go and the tears come. Now, once you work through the things that you've carried, pink opal is a great daily stone to remind you to be heart open. In the short term, when you first get one, you might find that things get really difficult. And I don't pull punches. I'm telling you that it might get hard, but it's important that you do it. So my thing about deciding that you're stronger than pain and fear is about, well, on my homepage is linked this 13-minute free grounding MP3. I want all of you, if you're watching this, go to my site and get this MP3. 13 minutes of me leading you through this process to send cords into the earth, breathe the energy of the earth up into your body and exchange it. That's the beginning of the grounding process. Deciding to clear out energies that don't belong to you or that can't match a loving frequency. So the first step is grounding to the earth. Second step is opening the crown and drawing in supportive energy from the cosmos and breathing out in and out that way. And then I'm just distracted because I'm imagining the animations my girlfriend wants to make for one of these. She wants to do one of these, like a video to show this, but I'm here waiting. So and then the third step is breathing in from above and below, simultaneously having them meet in the heart, and then opening the heart, breathing out through the heart, wrapping that energy around you. This is generating love, not because you saw something cute or a loved one. For me, it's white puppies in the coffee shop. I become white dogs, small white dogs, Maltipus, whatever, go a little crazy, and I melt, right? Or I see my girlfriend and my heart opens, or some other loved one. Not because of that, but because you're choosing to generate love. That is the path from a grounded place to true spiritual power. The nature of your soul is love. Your consciousness is an eruption into space-time, into this body, but its soul, which is divine love. Your soul has you here. The reason every human is here is to learn to process emotions, to learn to feel things, overcome disempowered beliefs about separateness, about fear and pain and anger, and the things that make us feel that we are not loved or lovable, moving into being the source of love for ourselves. That's your job. You, viewer, that's why your soul has you here. To learn to become the source of love for yourself. To learn to inhabit the divine spark within you. So the pink opal will open your heart. I want you to be grounded first. It's absolutely critical. So get that MP3, do that at least twice a day, every day, until you notice a difference. And if you're open to it, you will. Now, some people might find the grounding process really hard because something in the lower three chakras is stuck. You might not realize that if you have that issue. Like I have a client who experienced abuse when he was very, very young. And so the first few weeks of doing that meditation and the grounding process was challenging, but it became easier as he worked at it, and he confronted what was hard and what hurt, and he kept working with the inner kid, etc. For other people, they might have experienced a different kind of trauma, not when they're very young, but even later in life, that shut them down to their lower chakras, that kept them, from being in that part of the body. That's why I recommend working with a tiger iron. I recommend very strongly. So, the vision that the Ascended Master I channel, I'm kind of his representative here on Earth. There are a number of us, but I'm one who's spending a lot of time teaching his teachings or spreading them around. This is Jehuti, spelled D-J-E-H-U-T-Y. That's his Kemetic Egyptian name, right? Ancient Egypt was called Kem. That was his Kemetic name. And he's also known as Thoth or Thoth, Toth, Saint Germain, and Merlin. Saint Germain is the keeper of the violet flame of forgiveness, which is the violet flame that heals, that is a balm that heals all wounds. What he does in that role is offer you the opportunity to let go of what you've held on to. His energy, it's essentially Saint Germain violet flame energy in these pink opal. That's what I'm doing here. I sit down, I get heart open, and I seriously open my heart in a similar way that you're led through in that 13-minute grounding MP3. And I open my heart, and when I'm loving enough, when I've really kind of let go of my stuff for the day, the week, the month, then I can pick up the stones and I put energy into them. I push energy into them from my body. If any of you are familiar with energy work, that's what I'm doing, but I'm pushing a ton of energy into the stones through my hands and through my body. And then I get energy back, so I'm even more blissful when it's over. But like I said, when we open our hearts without being grounded, we can become puddles on the floor. We can lose control of ourselves, or fear we will. We can feel overwhelmed by what we're feeling and not know what to do with it. We may then shut down and hide because it's too embarrassing to be vulnerable, or to cry on the subway or whatever. But when we're grounded, those lower three chakras, then there's a container for consciousness, and we're solid. We can be in our bodies and allow our hearts to relax open naturally. So when you get let me just pick up a different example. When you get a program Pink Opal from me, your heart will open, and you'll need to be angry and cry. You'll need to evaluate old feelings. But when you allow those waves to break, you are left with peace. About little things, frustration may come up, and then I do it, and then I cry, and then I can relax, and I'm extremely soft and sweet and cuddly. I'm even surprised at how cuddly I am. I'm always cuddly, but that is that is a kind of a really specific softness and vulnerability that I have after I go through those processes, right? Kind of like wave breaks, right? It will also, and that's talking about frustration on a day-to-day basis, or this happening this month or something. Deeper things will get dredged up. This is critical to understand if you get a pink opal. But again, decide that you are stronger than pain and fear that may come up, because you can get grounded. You can decide everything that has happened in your life is there for a good reason. It's to push you into growth. You can own, as co-creations, painful experiences that you have had. And then you can open your heart, allow your heart to relax open because you're grounded. Deeper things will come up. And typically a person has one, maybe more, but at least one, deeper kind of fear, pain, grief, anger, regret, kind of deeper kind of really challenging emotional stuff that wants to come up, or that needs to come up. And typically this stuff will live under the surface and be like 10, 20, 80%, the wave height until it, before 100% will be breaking, kind of like does that. But if we suppress it, or if we don't allow it to come to the surface and work with it and emote and re-feel it and move through it, it will guide us. Because as a being that wants to survive, you are avoiding pain. you are doing everything you can, typically, most of us, to avoid having to feel pain. So for me, there's a thing about grief and other life grief, loved ones dying, just something that my soul decided to not quite figure out fully. So in a bunch of lives, I'm trying to figure that out, including this one. Not so much with people I know in this life who die. I actually adjust pretty well to that. But it's the lingering old stuff from a bunch of lives that's stored in my field. So the more that I work with Pink Opal, and I love this one. It's layered, but it's also light, almost white at the top. You can kind of see that. Yeah, there's kind of like a white layer there. And I on most of these I leave rough spots too, which is just a little signature thing. The more I work with Pink Opal, the more that pain comes to the surface. It nudges up. It nudges up. It just kind of like nudges up. And I've had a couple experiences lately that I've actually done some audio diaries on that I'll probably share on SoundCloud soon. Some experiences lately that have kind of ripped it open. And I find myself driving through Tucson crying, being a mess, but grounded so I can drive, but feeling this awful thing. When I have Pink Opal with me and that happens, I take it as a cue, and I'm with those feelings. If I need to talk about it, I reach out and I talk about it with somebody. But often I just need to let myself experience it. So that's the primary prep or prerequisite for working with programmed Pink Opal that I'm offering. I've gotten to the place where this grief is with me now all the time. It's just under the surface. I mean, it's almost not under the surface. And I'm choosing to look at it and feel it. And I decide all the time, I'm stronger than the pain that this is. Let me look at this. Essentially, let me treat this as a part of me who's carrying this energy. So I choose not to be overwhelmed, swept away, or knocked off my feet by it all the time. When it comes up loudly and I feel the emotion breaking and then it's taking over, but I can come back a few minutes later. It's always fine. So we don't suppress emotion. That's unbelievably critical. We have to choose to stop suppressing what we have felt or what we need to process and feel. So the result is my girlfriend keeps telling me I look better and stronger and handsomer and clearer. And I'm actually every day dealing with this grief. Every day I cry about this. It could be a minute, it could be 2 hours, every day. Because I'm not suppressing a deep part of myself that can actually contribute to the rest of my life. Think of a team, and one person is distracted by an emotional problem. That person can't help the team. Giving that person time and space, paying attention, listening, supporting that person can help that person unravel, unwind, de-stress over time. So I'm essentially taking a part of me that is deep under the surface that has always been upset. As long as I can remember in this life, this part has been sad. Say it that way. Depressive. Why bother doing anything? Sometimes suicidal. And I'm taking that part of my team and I'm saying, yeah, okay, tell me about that. Because you're part of the team. And the other reason why I look a little different as a result of this, I perceive. Yeah, I mean, that was her opinion. That was her observation. The other thing that I perceive is happening is I'm not keeping myself from some part of my spectrum. We all operate on multiple levels. We're multidimensional, multi-layered beings, consciousness and unconsciousness combining to inform our energy and and the way we behave, and then ultimately our bodies and our health as well, and our choices and our beliefs. All of it is tied together. That's why, as I say, I'm really doing emotional healing work. It's really energetic healing work, but from the inside out, you learning to manage your emotions better so that you can be more conscious about how you operate yourself as an energetic being. That's the key. So the second thing is, I'm not denying a frequency on which I operate. So it's letting me get more grounded. I'm more in my body. When I'm peaceful, I'm more peaceful. When I'm confident, I'm more confident, because I'm not trying to shove part of me out. So there's an empowerment process in learning, in deciding you're willing to deal with emotions. And to do it, you must be willing to feel. You must be willing to feel. Spiritual evolution does not, will not, can never happen by getting into your upper chakras and wishing for the best, hoping for the best. For years, I've taught a class called Intuitive Skills Development, and I've led small groups, 4, 5, 6 people through this process a few times a year. I've taught it more lately because the teachings are so important. And I feel like I've done maybe 35 people in 6 years, something like that. I did one section in person. The very first one was 4 people at my house in Tucson. And then the other ones have been on the phone and on the web. I just remember them starting the class before I had any furniture, so we'd sit on pillows in the living room. Like right when I moved into this house when I first moved to Tucson. So we have to be willing to feel. We have to be willing to, because we're holding on to fear and pain. So I take students through this intuitive skills course. Intuitive skills are already with you. But what's not with you is the ability to ground, get in your body, make peace with the past, own your divine co-creation of all the things that have hurt you. That's what's not natural. That's what's not already in you. The skills to deal with your emotions. So people say, how can I be intuitive? I want to take your intuitive skills class. What does it look like? And I say, we're going to dig through all of your chakras and talk about what you fear. Because parts of you are oriented to fear. We're talking about loving, conscious operation of yourself as an energetic being is love, loving, kind to yourself, forgiving, kind to others, but not others first, you first. So this intuitive skills course, I almost feel like it's the wrong title, but it is, because your intuitive skills, we're going to talk about that. I've talked about that during the whole course, but the class process itself is for you to evaluate and alter your relationship with fear and pain. So go through the chakras 1 through 7, talk about what you're afraid of, and I've done my best to reframe why the soul would have you experience that. What did that serve? What are you learning? So you can embody the wisdom of soul and take it with you as empowerment. So pink opal is one of the 3 stones that the last couple of sections I've required the students to get, because it's critical to open the heart and forgive. But we don't want to be vulnerable. We want to forgive, but we don't want to have to open ourselves up to feeling more. All this stuff that being grounded can solve. So I've just developed, I don't think this is premature, it's just a few weeks off. I've developed a 3-part lower 3 chakra MP3 course that you can use at home. Instead of me teaching this intuitive skills class all the time, people can do it from home. And the first 3 chakras will be offered together, specifically because one must be grounded before we get to the upper chakras. You have to be grounded. And it takes more time than the upper 4 chakras. I've already recorded the upper 4 chakras, but then that set number 2 is not going to be available right away, because it's imperative that you take responsibility for digging into the lower 3 chakras. You don't get the perceived or expected reward of being in the upper chakras and being like, oh yeah, I can spiritually advance and everything's great. No, you have to look at why you don't feel safe, why you think life isn't supportive, why you perceive you've made mistakes and what it means about you, how other people have treated you, and you have to look at them as divine messengers to show you how to love yourself better. So these lower 3 chakras are absolutely critical, and then the 4th chakra can relax open on top of them. So I'm encouraging you to be willing to feel. Well, I went right over here for the game. To be willing to feel. Here's another pink opal that is on my side right now. I love these handheld pieces. Some people have said, like, you know, like they want like tiny pieces, but I want you to know it's there. I want you to hold it with you. I don't want you to have just like a little, like, you know, candy-sized thing, a little M&M or chocolate-covered peanut-sized, like little teeny thing. I want you to have something substantial to hold. And also, frankly, the bigger ones hold more energy. It gives off a stronger pulse. Also, I think this will be on my site soon because I've been charging it, and I'm kind of attached to it, but not nearly as I am attached to this giant one that's also here. I bought 2 large ones with 1 face polished. So I'm encouraging you to do that during the rest of the solar month of Cancer, the next approximately 3 weeks. Pink opal is the feature crystal, and that means that I'll be doing some teaching things, more blog posts. I may do another video on more about dealing with these deeper things, though I mentioned some of it today. And doing a featured crystal of the month is a way of collecting teachings, and causing myself to organize thoughts on paper that I teach people and talk about and write about, but not ever in a focused way that's contained. So thank you for your time and energy. I hope that what I'm doing with my heart and my emotions and how I'm learning how to operate myself more consciously is of service to you. I hope it's helping you. And I want you to check out my site, tdjacobs.com, and also take care of yourself. That's very important. Bye-bye.